Hi, everybody. It's Mike from Here the Watchmen, and we're back with the Watchman's Report today. Have some exciting stuff to talk about and get into. But before we get started on that, I encourage all of you to go to hearthewatchmen.com. We're going to be in Dallas, Texas again. It's our 5th year in a row at the Hilton DFW Executive Lakes Conference Center. Really going to be an interesting conference this go around. We have some of the regulars, Pastor Paul Bagley, L.A. Marzulli, a few of the other regulars, and we have some brand new people coming. You can see it all at hearthewatchmen.com. But the important thing is go on there now and get your ticket, because until November 15th, it's $79 per ticket, which is the lowest price we've ever offered. After that, it goes up to $119. Save yourself some money and get on board today. Breaking news with the conference is we will be hearing from Field McConnell, who is Abel Danger, and I think it's called The Field Report is his YouTube channel. He was arrested. He was trying to expose pedophilia, completely bogus case against him, and he will be at the Hear the Watchman conference sharing his testimony. So you don't want to miss it. Again, hearthewatchmen.com. So today we're going to talk with Hope Ann, who's from the East Coast somewhere. I'm not going to say where, but she is from the East Coast. And Hope has a very interesting story. We brought you some of it a few weeks back before Jeannie and I had to go do the California conference, and I had to kind of cut away from doing regular shows. Hope has fascinating intel on chipping, and you all know what chipping is, but she's going to talk a little bit about it. She's going to give you the definition of RFID today one more time to kind of bring us up to speed, and then she's going to dive into some things that you're really going to want to hear. Hope Ann, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Just enjoying beautiful weather up here in the mountains of Idaho. It's a little cold, but you know what? It's that time of year, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Hope, talk to us. I mean, now you had an experience with being chipped, and we've talked about that before, but let's bring the audience up to speed, if you will, on exactly what is this RFID thing going around.
Yeah, I would like to read the definition off to you guys again off of the Department of Homeland Security page. It states that radio frequency identification, okay, it says, what is it? It says radio frequency identification technology uses radio waves to identify people or objects. People or objects. This is on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security page. It says, device that reads information contained in a wireless device or tag from a distance without making any physical contact or requiring a line of sight. So I wanted to read to you this study that I found.
Hey Hope, I'm gonna interrupt you for just a second. I want to let our audience know Hope is coming in audio only. There's nothing wrong. Sit back, relax, listen to it. For her own protection, we're not going to put her face or image up here on the screen. So I just want to let y'all know that so you don't think there's something wrong with this transmission. Go ahead, Hope.
Yeah, I found this study that stated that 1 in every 3 Americans as of 2016 had already been implanted with an RFID chip, most unaware. So this is the name of the document, and it's by the goodlylawsociety.org. Again, it's titled, Study Finds 1 in 3 Americans Have Been Implanted with RFID Chips Most Unaware. So if you go through the document here, it says tiny RFID chips can be implanted anywhere in the body, including during dental work. It shows a really tiny picture of one there on the tip of someone's finger. And this is out of, it says scientists out of the Wyoming Institute of Technology have determined that a shocking 1 in 3 Americans have been implanted with an RFID microchip. So what they did was they took 1,000 people from the East Coast, West Coast, in the middle of the country, and they scanned them to see how many of them were implanted. So basically what it says here, the lead scientist's name was John Burgle, PhD. So in this document, it actually says, from the West Coast, Northeast, Southwest, and they shows charts in here. And on these charts, they show you here, 1 in 3 Americans is RFID positive, okay, from those areas across the country, 1,000 people. So basically, if you go back through the chart and you look and see the pie chart, there's a pie chart. It shows that more than half of the pie chart of those people were actually implanted through tooth fillings. Okay, the next one is implanted screws. The next one is artificial hip. The next one is artificial knee. The next one is the hand. Those are the people, that actually wanted apparently to put in. And then the birth control, which was very slim. I was surprised. I thought that one would have been a little bit higher. And the reason why is because there's a book out that everybody should read. It was written in 2005, and it's called Spy Chips. It's very good on RFID. It's by Catherine Albright and Liz McIntyre. And in this book, oh man, it's wow. It talks about how this company named Persephone Inc., it says that they want RFID implants to be almost impossible to remove. Their proposal is plant them deeper, much deeper. And I found here on page 187, oh, it was so disturbing. It shows here, it says patent application publication, September 9th of 2004. Okay, it says U.S. Patent 2004 0174258. It says here, illustration of areas within a female body where a microchip can be implanted. From this patent application number 2004 0174258. And it's unbelievable. It goes from like the urethra to the ovaries, to the uterine tube, to the uterus, uterine bladder, the vagina, the anal canal, the rectum. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's on page 187 of this Spy Chips book, but I guess I should have read the back of it. It says, imagine a world where everything you own, from your sneakers to your driver's license to your prescription medication, containing a tiny microchip that can transmit private information about you to marketers, criminals, or government agents. This isn't science fiction. In a few short years, it could be a fact of life. Well, and then it goes on. Spy Chips takes readers into the frightening world of radio frequency identification, where tiny computer chips may someday replace the barcode, allowing strangers to study your purchasing habits, peek at your medical history, and pinpoint your physical location. And so that's this book called Spy Chips by Catherine Albright and Liz McIntyre. The book is excellent. I mean, this is how I originally learned about radio frequency ID and the chipping. So I also have, there's an executive order I wanted to read off to you. And the executive order, it says Bush amends Executive Order 12333. Okay. It says, okay, Executive Order 12333. It goes on to say, physical surveillance of the United States person in the United States by elements of the intelligence community. FBI surveillance is accepted and is certain other surveillance. So it just goes on and talks about, the FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and how after 9/11, they put this into play. I'm trying to find it says July 31st, 2008, President Bush signed a document titled Executive Order, Further Amendments to Executive Order 12333, United States Intelligence Activities. And it just goes on. It talks about the original order by um, President Ronald Reagan, which I have, right? Let me find it here. Because that one actually stated that it was illegal. I'm trying to find it. Basically, here it is. There's so many documents here. Okay, so the executive order was originally from Ronald Reagan in 1981. And it actually stated that he actually stated there that experimentation cannot be done without consent of the subjects being experimented on. And that was the original executive order by Ronald Reagan in 1981. And apparently Bush changed it here, and now it's, it's being accepted, unfortunately. It's just unbelievable. So there was that.
Well, let me ask you this, Carmelita. I mean, now we all have to go in and get fillings. We all have to have medical procedures, maybe our hip replaced or our knee replaced or our hand, or women have to go in for female type stuff. So what do we do?
Well, I think get away from the Western medicine because, I spoke to my cancer doctor before I even had that surgery, and I put it off a couple of times, and he asked me why, like I said on my testimony, and I told him that I didn't want him putting anything inside my body. And he swore up and down that he would never, stick something in someone's body without their consent and all of that. And he lied.
Yeah, he did, right? He did.
He admitted he put he called it a radio frequency diode. And when I told him I wanted it removed, he said that he couldn't remove it because he wrapped it around my main artery. But I think people need to get scanned because, scanning is like so important to find out if you have one inside of you. The symptoms, there's a whole list of symptoms, if you would suspect that you could have been chipped through the dental or, through a surgery. Because, through the surgery, they'll wrap it around that main artery and it stimulates your heart. It makes your heart race. And like I said before, it's being run off of a AI through a smart app, and they're on 60-day loops. So it's basically they can embed a program into it and to send it through the Wi-Fi into your device. It's basically commands is basically what it is. But my symptoms, I wrote a list of my symptoms. And my symptoms were extremely rapid heart rate at identical times. It's like clockwork, okay? A bee stinging pain down in my lower left area, insomnia, obviously, because this thing wakes you up, dry eyes, dehydration, ringing in both my ears, vertigo, dizziness, vomiting, head pressure, twitching, the facial and mouth swelling that my dentist has witnessed for years and years. I even have pictures of when I've woken up in the morning of my eyelids being burnt and my face being burnt. But I didn't go to bed like that. I didn't go to bed with my face looking like, I literally wake up and I look like I had been out in the sun. Because it's microwave radiation. They're microwaving you. When you have a device in you, they're literally microwaving you. Electrical tingling hands and fingers at night. Tingling of the scalp. Almost like bugs that are walking on your head. It's so crazy. Eye distortions. My heart is sore and definitely it aches. Loss of concentration. I mean, it's the list. You can pull up mindjustice.org, and they have a better list of all the symptoms that you can look up there if you suspect. You know what I mean? If you have been. But as far as you being scanned, I wanted to tell you about this organization, and this organization is called ISAACT, and they are the International Center Against Abuse and Covert Technologies. Okay, and they're being run by a Lars Drugard and Jesse Beltrain, and those guys are so good. They actually did a YouTube video on Roxy Lopez's "The Truth Denied," and the name of it was called Mind Control, Gang Stalking, and RFID Chip Implant. And it was excellent. Again, that was Lars Drugard and Jesse Beltran. So if you pull up ISA Act.
And how are you spelling ISA Act?
It's ICAACT. It's ICAACT.
Okay.
It's ICE Act. And like I said, find here. Okay. International Center Against Abuse and Covert Technologies. It says their mission statement is they were created to bring awareness to the general public and the legal systems around the world about serious human rights abuses utilizing remote influencing technologies. Our aim is to obtain evidence. So if you get on their website there, they show you a picture of like the Faraday cage they put you in to scan you. There's basically 3 phases of this testing. There's a preliminary scan for a radio frequency emission from the human body. They obtain medical imaging of the area that has shown the EM RF frequency, the positive, how it's positive. The aim is to locate possible foreign bodies, which is RF, unidentified bright objects. This is a responsibility of the participant, says. 3, final scanning of RF emission is done in a controlled environment. That's the Faraday cage I talked about. It says this is a repeat of phase 1 in a certified shielded room as referred to as a Faraday cage to rule out the possibility that the signal might be coming from an outside source. And then 4, surgery under video monitoring to obtain possible physical evidence admission in domestic and international court. Okay. So basically they will help you get the, the legal documentation you would need in order to file a lawsuit, because they would provide the fact that something is in your body and it's coming from within your body. Then they would provide the hertz and the frequency number of what it is, you know what I mean? And then they would document the proof of the positivity of all this, and they would document for that for you, and they would actually testify for you also. And now they're located in California. I want to see if I have. They're in California. Address. Yeah, they're clear on California. Now they did say that if we got enough people together on the East Coast, that they would actually come out here and they would actually, scan people. Okay, it looks like they're in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
They're at 8359 Elk Grove. Yeah, in Sacramento, California. That's where they're located. So I would love for them to come to our area. But in their document, okay, it says ISA Act Phase 3 testing. Let me see here. There was something I highlighted here.
Well, now, I got to ask you, is this the only facility that you know of in the States that's doing this?
The only facility, the only one. So, yep, they're the only one. It says here, the use of electronic implant technology is becoming common practice in the medical and scientific community and will grow towards being the main diagnostic and interactive tool within the human body. Some of the earliest research and developments in electronic implant technology for use in the human body was done by the military and intelligence community. Okay. These are by the nature of the secrecy surrounding new military and intelligence applications, not very well documented in the public domain. And to a great extent, these developments and their specific applications remain elusive and secret. Yeah, they don't want this stuff getting out. They don't want people knowing that they have these devices in them. That's without a doubt. You know what I mean?
So Hope, I mean, I guess what the question that most of the audience are going to be looking for is, let's just take Bill and Mary Smith that live out in Kansas and grow corn, and they live on a little farm out there. What does someone want from them? What are they hoping to gain with these chips?
Control. It's control. And I used to think that it was just specific people that they were targeting and tagging. But, this study here, it says 1 in 3 Americans have been they've been chipped unaware, and they took all these people from, all around the country here. So, I mean, it just seems to me that they want to get as many people tagged as possible. It says 958 individuals from Illinois, Iowa, and Washington, 987 individuals from Maine, Rhode Island, and New Jersey, and then population Southwest contained 1,010 individuals from Arizona and Nevada. So, I mean, they took people from all over. It doesn't look like they took specific people. They just went into, the Southwest, the Northeast and the Midwest, and they just gathered these people, and they just, they
start
it
shipping.
says 3,000 individuals. Okay. In the article published this week, they detailed a study of nearly 3,000 individuals. I thought it was 1,000. Sorry about that. It was 3,000. All total that they took from these areas. And this was in 2016 when this was done. And it came back that 1 in 3 were positively identified as having an RFID chip inside of them.
So, I mean, when you say, Carmelita, that what they want is control, the image that a lot of people are going to have of that is like the zombie apocalypse, where we're going to have 3,000 people and some guy in some place with a little joystick controlling what they do and what they say. When you say control, what do you mean by control?
Well, I have a document out of Schriever Air Force Base. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I sent it to you and Jeannie on how they actually target Americans through the Gwen towers, which are out there all across America. They're the towers that have the vertical pieces up and down around the circle of it. They started popping up, and people started saying, what are these? Are these cell towers? No, they were not. They're ground towers. They're ground-based weaponry towers. So they're actually targeting innocent Americans through the satellite. And how are they able to, target them? They target them by people having these implants inside of their body, these RFID chips inside their body. This is how they're doing it. And I know it sounds crazy, but the document is there under .mil. I mean, it's online. Yeah, you can pull it off.
So they're tracking people.
They're monitoring, surveilling, and tracking people. A radio frequency ID device is a tracking device. It is a tracking device. And that's why it was so interesting that my cancer doctor said to me when I saw him 3 months ago, and I said, this is the last time I was going to try to talk to him, to speak to him, to get it removed. The very first thing he said to me when he walked into the room and sat down, he said to me, he asked me what the problem was. And I said, you know what the problem is? I want this device removed. He turned and looked at me and he said, I am not tracking you. He said, Mrs., I am not tracking you. So I thought that was really interesting that was his choice of words. He used the word tracking. I am not tracking you. When in fact, that's exactly what it is. It's a tracking device. That's exactly what it is.
Wow. That's amazing. It's amazing. Listen, we're out of time for this episode. We're going to have another episode with Carmelita that will, not Carmelita, I'm thinking of someone different, Hope Ann. We're going to have another episode with Hope Ann coming up on Sunday, and so you're going to want to tune back in for that. In the meantime, Hope Ann, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it.
And we'll be back, folks. Again, you want to tune in and listen to Hope Ann on Sunday, because we're going to talk about some legal issues regarding RFID chipping. And this is real stuff. I mean, I've got to go to the dentist, and after talking with her today, I think I'm going to just go out and get a pair of vice grips and take care of my tooth myself. I mean, it's frightening what's going on out there. So thank you all for joining us today here on the Watchmen's Report. Remember, as I always say, nothing you can't do with Jesus in your heart, except nothing at all. Please pray for Hope Ann. Please pray for those who have been chipped. They all need us, and we all need to stand up to this together. God bless each and every one of you. See you next time here on the Watchmen's Report.